It's 1:10 in the afternoon. And this is Talk on the Block. Some people are already reacting to earlier statements I made, huh? There's some rumor going around about Matt Peltier. I think it started by Delvin Castro. He loves to hide behind Facebook names and attack. I don't hide to attack. I've already identified a few people. I won't call your names, but expect to be hearing from me very soon. I can defend myself, so don't go after family members. Come after me. Don't go after my son, huh? Again, I have never accepted any hush money. I'm just putting it out there, okay? So stop spreading rumors. I will identify you one after the other. Josephine Giles in Florida. I just mentioned your name for now. We'll leave it there for now.
My intent.
We'll be talking to the opposition leader very soon. You like the fact that I said I was I have seen a way of retiring early. There's not money in the world that could buy me. My son was never ever molested. So get your story straight, okay? Some of you will be hearing from me. have said this. Let's continue.
My intelligence tells me that known operatives of the United Workers' Party are busy trying to instigate a stoppage of the new West Bridge project. This is purely to score cheap political points. I am told they're planning street protests. I am told they're seeking injunctions to stop the project. I am told they plan to march. This is what I was referring to when I said to you earlier that in this by-election, we have to send a clear message to the opposition. We have to tell them that we do not approve of their tactics, that we will not tolerate their attempts to bring disorder and chaos to this country. They are seeking to have the operatives in the various organizations initiate all of this with the sole purpose of frustrating and retarding the progress of Dominica. So expect any day now to hear that the West Beach project is interrupted. Expect to hear any day now that trucks are blocking the road. Expect to hear any time now that the various applications have been made to the High Court to stop this project. For this is what the ULP does best: incite civil disobedience and interfere with progress.
These are serious allegations they are made against the opposition, insinuating or suggesting that they're working with other groups to orchestrate this order in Dominica. Lennox Linton is on the line with me at this time. Lennox Linton, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay, Lennox. This morning, some serious allegations, I suspect, made last night at a rally in Scott said about the opposition sort of collaborating with other groups to organize protests in Dominica. Lennox Linton, what is your take? Where is this coming from?
Well, first of all, Matt, thank you for the invitation to talk about this matter. Have you tried to contact the Prime Minister to find out what is the source of his intelligence and what more he knows that the people of Dominica need to know about this?
No, I haven't, but it appears that, and we all know that his source of intelligence, his intelligence gathering comes from the police, the special branch that he has.
So the impression you have is that the police have advised him, the special branch of the police have advised him of these matters?
Yes.
Okay. What I want to say, Matt, is that I would want to take my hat off to every single individual and the group in Dominica who believe and would like to take action in respect, who believe that this award of the contract to the Barbadian company that participated in Mr. Skerritt's election campaign with no tender, with no bid, in clear, open violation of the provisions of the Public Procurement and Contract Administration Act is illegal, and it needs to be withdrawn. And I take my hat off to anyone, any individual, any group who will act to prevent this bid from going forward before contractors in Dominica who are duly qualified, who are willing and who are able to do that job, get a chance to bid on it, get a chance to tender. Because it's Dominican money. It is the sale of passports to the Commonwealth of Dominica that is funding this particular project. And it is unacceptable in 2016 for a Prime Minister to be asking the people of Dominica to support him in disregarding our own, in not allowing them to even enter a bid or a tender for a project that they're capable of delivering, and to do that illegally in clear, open violation of the laws of Dominica. Mr. Skerritt likes to confuse issues. We stand for what is right. We stand for what is just in Dominica. And when we become the government of Dominica, contracts of that nature will be publicly tendered. There will be competitive bidding, and will ensure value for money, and will ensure proper treatment of Dominicans who have the capability to deliver on such contracts. But you know, Mr. Skerritt is indulging in his usual deception, his usual trickery, his usual lies and dishonesty. Mr. Skerritt knows well that a number of persons in Dominica have taken this matter very seriously. He knows that the honorable course of action available to him is to withdraw the contract because it is illegal. It was illegally awarded. It was awarded contrary to the rule of law in Dominica, and therefore it must be withdrawn. Mr. Skerritt has heard from stakeholders in this matter that he must withdraw the award, or else legal action will be taken against the government. He's aware of that. He has been notified in writing to that regard. Mr. Skerritt is also aware that the United Workers' Party has before the Parliament of Dominica a motion for a vote of no confidence in his leadership. And one of the grounds, let me quote here, one of the grounds is this: that the Prime Minister has failed to honor the value for money obligation in spending public funds, has refused to follow the public tender provisions in the Public Procurement and Contract Administration Act, and has unlawfully, with no public tender, no competitive bidding, and total disregard for contractors in Dominica, qualified, willing, and able to do the job, awarded a Barbados company that participated in his 2014 general election campaign a contract for the reconstruction of the Roseau West Bridge at a cost of $18.2 million, an amount which appears to be grossly disproportionate to the true cost of constructing this bridge. This is one of the grounds on which we feel the Prime Minister needs to step aside. The Parliament of the country should declare that it has no confidence in the leadership of Roosevelt Skerritt. For this and other reasons, we have laid out 8 grounds in our motion, which is now before the Parliament. We have requested that the matter be debated at the next sitting of the Parliament.
A motion of no confidence?
A motion of no confidence. Our position is clear. We don't hide in the bushes, nor do we hide behind organizations. In fact, we applaud the organizations and the individuals who are standing for what is right and what is just in Dominica, and who, with respect to this illegal award of the $18.2 million contract to the Barbados company, want something to be done about it instead of just talking about it. And Mr. Skerritt must be careful, because I see him running away from the issues in this by-election campaign. The issues have everything to do with Mr. Skerritt's refusal to stand for and on the side of abused children of Dominica. Mr. Skerritt and his colleagues have gone on the record to, while they are bigging up their colleague criminally charged with the indecent assault of a minor, they have totally forgotten that the minor exists, that the minor had a right to report what was done to the minor, and that the minor also has a right to have the complaint heard by the police authority that has found enough merit in the complaint to lay the criminal charge of indecent assault of a minor. And that the minor has the right to have this matter properly prosecuted to the full extent of the law in the courts of Dominica. There was a matter that came up, Matt, you're very well aware of it, where the statement that the minor gave to the police was leaked into the public domain, into social media platforms. And I am now hearing from someone who claims to have read the report that the gentleman responsible for the leak is a senior police officer who was recently promoted promoted because of his connections with the Skerrit administration. And this is serious business, Matt, because right now, in the face of all of that, the Prime Minister, who is asking the people of Scottshead and Soufriere and Point Michel and Galion to support individuals, to support a group, a party in government that is indifferent to child molestation in Dominica, that is indifferent to indecent assault of minors, that couldn't care less about minors who were indecently assaulted, that the people of Scottshead, Soufriere, Point Michel and Galion must stand with them and vote with them and give them a big victory in tribute to and in honor of someone criminally charged with sexual abuse of a minor. Now, Matt, you have to understand what Mr. Skerrit is asking the people of Dominica. And you have to understand, why is it that Mr. Skerrit found it impossible again yesterday in a major rally in the constituency to deal with this matter and to state clearly what his position is, and to have the candidate he's putting up to replace the one criminally accused of indecent assault of a minor, to indicate clearly what her position is. They keep talking about everything else. They keep slandering and libeling and denigrating everybody that they don't like, but they will not deal with the issues. So I'm saying Mr. Skerrit must wheel and come again. He's not going to divert public attention away from this atrocity. Neither is he going to flip the script on us by telling people, oh, it is the United Workers' Party in the case of the West Bridge that wants to cause civil disobedience, etc. We're not running away from this, you know. This contract is illegal and it must be withdrawn. And we, as I said, we are asking for Mr. Skerrit a vote of the Parliament to register a vote of no confidence in Mr. Skerrit. One of the reasons being his handling and his award, his illegal award of this contract, and the fact that he has the gall, the unmitigated gall, to come in public and try to defend it and try to browbeat people into coming across to his way, which is anti-Dominican, which is anti-Dominican people working, which is anti-Dominican people finding employment that they're qualified for in their own country, funded by monies from the sale of Dominican citizenship. You see how ridiculous this man has become? Do you stop, pause, Matt, and try to figure out exactly what is going on with this man? So what does he want to do now? He wants to ask Maduro to send across the Venezuelan army to bulldoze those who would like to protest in the street about the illegal award of a contract for public works in Dominica, when public works employees cannot get paid?
Well, if the Venezuelan army, Lennox, you have other concerns at this time.
No, but you know, Mr. Skerrit, notwithstanding the concerns that Venezuela had, Mr. Skerrit is not concerned about the people of Venezuela. He's concerned about what he can get from the authorities in Venezuela, who have allowed him to benefit and his colleagues to benefit from the Petrocaribe arrangements over the years and so on. And even now that the children in Venezuela are suffering for want of medical supplies and diapers, and now that they don't even have electricity, the services are working 2 days a week, because an oil company, an oil-rich company with the largest known reserves of oil in the world, cannot give its people electricity. And Mrs. Skerrit is sitting on Petrocaribe money in Dominica, silent about a recommendation from the United Workers' Party, the parliamentary opposition, that an immediate humanitarian contribution of at least $1 million be sent to aid and assist the young children, the infants of Venezuela who are dying in hospitals there. And the candidate for the Labour Party in this by-election, an employee of Petrocaribe, a creature of Venezuelan people money, has nothing to say about it. These are the issues in the by-election campaign. And Mrs. Skerrit is not going to switch the script on us. It's not going to happen. The people of Point Michel, Bagatelle, the people of Soufriere, the people of Scottshead, and the people of Galion are going to remain focused on what is before them. They will decide on the 7th of June, but we will make sure that the education is available to them so they will know better and therefore do better than what Mr. Skerrit is expecting of them. But this ranting and raving about the opposition doing this and the opposition doing that, it is Mr. Skerrit who is disgracing Dominica with a record in governance that is littered and defined by corruption. The abuse of public resources for private gain. And I don't know whether people in Dominica are interested in that. But what galls me is the amount of money we now know have been frittered away into foreign bank accounts, as the Panama Papers have indicated. By the way, when people tell you, Matt, when people indicate to you, well, that nobody in the government has been directly implicated in the Panama Papers and so on, the question you need to ask with clarity and conviction is, what is the Commonwealth of Dominica, the name the Commonwealth of Dominica, doing in the Panama Papers as a shareholder in the Shangri-La International Development Holdings Limited from an address in Paris, France? Ask them that. And ask as well, Matt, why is it that if this shareholding of the government from an address in France was registered back in 2004 in this offshore company, in the Panama Papers, why did Mr. Skerrit have to go to court in the BVI in 2009 and pay Anthony Estefan hundreds of thousands of dollars for his representation in order to rectify the shares of the same Shangri-La to reflect that government was the 51% shareholder? And who was the 51%? Is it the government entity here in Dominica or the one that is registered in Paris? The Panama Papers raises issues that the Prime Minister must address. Instead of addressing those issues, he is lying, he's confusing issues, he's telling stories, he's being dishonest, he's involved in trickery and deception as he usually does. And the people of Dominica must call him out. They must call him out for the liar and the dishonest person that he is, always trying to score some point with another piece of trickery, another piece of deception, which is what this is. Mr. Skerrit now knows that the contract was illegally awarded, and he's going to have to call back the contract because of the illegal award of the contract. It broke the laws of Dominica, which Mr. Skerrit is wont to do, and he must stop it.
Thank you, Lennox Linton, the opposition leader, with his perspective on just why the Prime Minister is making such statement. Let's listen to a report on Venezuela spinning out of control.
Good afternoon. I'm still reporting on the economy. This year so far, we've focused most of our reports on the political situation in the U.S. and Europe, but not a single report on South America. Its richest nation, Venezuela, has collapsed economically, and its neighbor, Brazil, is in such a deep recession that it may cause the cancellation of this summer's Olympic Games, which Brazil is hosting. Venezuela is spinning out of control and is on the verge of becoming a failed state. Food riots occur daily. Food is in such short supply that inflation on food items is running at 583%. And wholesalers say there is less than a 15-day supply left in the country. According to social watchdog Oscar Meza, we are officially declaring May as the month that widespread hunger began in Venezuela. How can this be possible in a nation which has more proven oil reserves than anyone on the planet, including Saudi Arabia? It all started when a lieutenant colonel in the Venezuelan army, Hugo Chavez, staged a failed military coup against a democratic government, then later got himself elected as its president in 1998. He installed a hybrid government, part communist, part socialist, with a slick covering of populism that allowed him to maintain power for 14 years until his death from cancer in 2013. Chavez bullied his opponents, rigged elections to keep himself in power, and encouraged the entire middle class to get out of the country. He spawned Marxist imitators across South America and sent aid to Cuba to keep the Castro brothers in power long enough for Obama to rescue them. At home, he spent wildly on social programs and handouts to his supporters, ignoring the fact that the incentive-driven economy was quietly disappearing with the middle class. Now, the evil fruits of his dictatorship have finally manifested themselves in his nation, which is now run by his vice president, Nicolas Maduro. Last December, parliamentary elections were held, and the Maduro government lost control of the legislature. Maduro threatened, "I will stop by hook or crook the opposition coming to power, whatever the costs, in any way." Maduro tossed out the Venezuelan Supreme Court and installed one consisting of justices he controlled. He then had the new Supreme Court suspend several of the newly elected MPs. As both inflation and shortages continued to increase into the new year, on January 16th, Maduro made himself the sole repository of all executive and legislative power, an outright dictatorship. Today, the capital, Caracas, has one of the highest homicide rates in the world, 122 per 100,000, 23 times higher than Chicago's murder rate in the U.S. Today, the city is ruled by armed gangs loyal to the government. Drug trafficking is so open that even members of the Venezuelan National Guard were caught putting 1.3 tons of cocaine on a Paris-bound flight, but no one was prosecuted. Electricity is in such short supply that the government has been reduced to a 2-day work week to save power. When the average person gets their hands on some money, they rush to the grocery store to spend it before prices go up. But recently, stores have been cleaned out by food rioters. Now everyone is stealing anything they can get their hands on and sell in the black market to get money for food. Today's New York Times reported that a referendum to recall President Maduro is gaining support in Venezuela. But as it does, Maduro continues to ratchet up his repression. The Times also reported that the only thing preventing Venezuela from defaulting on its national debt are massive loans from China. Again, why a wealthy country like Venezuela resorted to a national debt remains a mystery. But today, that national debt is killing the economy on the debt side of the equation, while the lack of incentive-driven productivity has already destroyed the production side of the economy. Mr. Maduro suffered a further blow last week when President Dilma Rousseff of Brazil, a close ally, was temporarily ousted from power and awaits an impeachment trial by the Senate. Brazil will host the Olympics in just 3 months. It, too, is in the midst of a massive recession, and there are increasing calls for the entire Olympic Games to be postponed until the political situation clears. Of course, that would lead to an even stronger collapse of the Brazilian economy, which has bet heavily on recouping many of their construction expenses from the tourism and TV revenue involved in the Olympics. Where this will end for Venezuela, no one knows, but some say there will be civil war soon. Some group, financed by some nation, will mount an army to take over in an attempt to restore order.
Keep your eyes on Venezuela. If anything that happens there, you know there will be repercussions for Dominica, who depends heavily on Venezuela, especially Petrocarib. Hello.
Yes, Matt. Good afternoon. It's me, Matt. How are you doing?
How you doing, my friend?
Not bad, Matt. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your listeners. Matt.
Yes.
Hello?
I'm here.
Matt, I'm listening to this thing on the Prime Minister's ranting. But, Matt, do you know, Matt, that Dominica is now the 3rd highest in the Caribbean in unemployment, Matt? We're not hearing the Prime Minister telling us about that. We're not hearing the Prime Minister telling us about the effects of the Panama Papers is likely to have on the economy of Dominica, Matt. Matt, this thing is so devastating to the economy. I think that is why the Prime Minister is hiding behind rhetoric, Matt. Matt, the Prime Minister and his allies have their money in banks overseas, Matt. So when they want money, Matt, they will go physically. They can afford to take a flight and go wherever and get their money, Matt. Matt, the poor people in Dominica who depend, Matt, on little transfers from their families abroad, Matt, will not be able to get that because the banks in Dominica will not have correspondent banking due to the risking. Matt, all that is as a result, and it's even strengthened by this Panama paper issue, Matt. The other thing, Matt, the unemployment among the poor in Dominica is 40%. Matt, I don't know how they arrive at an average rate of, let's say, unemployment in Dominica, 16%. But they say among the poor, it is 40%. So, Matt, poor people in Dominica are mainly, out of every 100, 40 of them at least are unemployed. We know it is more than that, but we'll accept those numbers. That enough, Matt, is too high. But I don't hear the Prime Minister talking about that on his platform. I don't hear the Labour Party or any of its people talking about that, Matt.
Some people are commenting here that the public workers are 5 fortnights without pay, yet money is making poppiage in by-election of Soufriere and vote hunting by this government. What a shame. Are you aware of that?
Matt, I don't hear the Prime Minister talking about that, Matt. I don't hear the candidate talking about that. She was a member on the Public Works Board that has refused to pay workers for 5 weeks now. But she's looking for a job where she's going to get paid how many thousands of dollars every month in addition to what she's getting as a member of the Public Works Board, an employee of Petrocarib, and whatever other board she's on, Matt. I don't hear the candidate talking about that to the people of of the constituency, Soufriere, Point Michel, and Gallio, Matt. Matt, this is disgraceful that this Labour Party government, led by Roosevelt Skerrit, it passes for Labour Party government and supported by the military arm of the Labour Party, which passes as the police force, Matt, have the people in Soufriere giving them rum, Matt. Put money in store to buy rum, and they're hungry, Matt. Matt, you know when you drink rum on an empty stomach, what happens, Matt? You get cirrhosis of the liver. You die, Matt. Matt, instead of putting the money and tell them to go and buy groceries, Matt, they're sending them to drink rum, Matt. Matt, you want to tell me that is what the people of Soufriere, Gallio, and Point Michel have reduced themselves to? A glass of rum and a sheet of galvanized this election, hoping to get a plywood next election to build a shack for them to live when Roosevelt Skerrit is living in a $2.5 million mansion, Matt?
Well, I don't know if I would say all of the people. I would say some of the people. 144, hello.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Yes.
Matt, you know, it's amazing listening to Venezuela. And you see, it boils down to the same question I have been asking for the past time. Is Dominican people not interested in the national debt and how our country is going to pay back, you know, for the debt? Why isn't the Labour Party talking about, discussing the national debt and what foundation they're going to lay for our children? This very same children we're talking about, is there a good future for them? Are they the ones going to pay for the debt? What mechanism the government is putting in place for them? Matt, the people in Venezuela don't even know their national debt, Matt. And you see how far they are. You see what's happening to them. Is the same thing going to happen to Dominica, Matt? Matt, you know, it's just unbelievable, man. Dominican people don't we care about each other no more. Everybody in Dominica just looking for what they can get for themselves and forget to help the rest of the people. Everybody, all the people know that are benefiting from that NEP program. You guys don't realize that, the government is actually taking finance and digging a hole for this very same next generation. Nobody cares about the next generation and what mechanism we put in place for them So our children, when we become older, let me tell you, Matt, when me and you get older, there will may not be a Labour Party. There will be no, yes, we care for people like us. And you know what? Our children going to take care of us? Will they have jobs to take care of us? Will we be on the road begging for $1? What's going to happen to the future, man? Thank you, man.
Thank you. When we come back, we'll try to tell you what's going down at the Royal Bank. $25 effective today to take care of your accounts, okay? So if you have $1,000, check it out. Remove $25 every month, and you'll find out what you will have on your account. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Matt.
Yes.
Well, Matt, I listen to the Prime Minister. I don't believe the Prime Minister should blame the opposition and think the opposition would be the one to stop the bridge. The Prime Minister has to make the people know it's because the money will be coming out from Panama and it is blocked, so you will be able to get the money. That's why the bridge will not continue. That's what you have to tell me.
Hey, really? Well, I haven't heard that part of it. 146, hello.
Hey, Mark, good afternoon.
Yes.
Mark, I need your help, please. Help me if you can. If you cannot, I'll take it like that. Well, let me say this. I am from Scottsdale, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as God lends me breath, I will vote in this election.
That's your right. That's your right.
Yeah, before I vote, I wanted to march in Roseau to ask the Prime Minister to explain something to me as a Dominican. I wanted to have a one-man march to ask the Prime Minister to explain to me something to me as a Dominican. What is going on in the Panama paper? But Mark, when I called the police department, a police officer made me feel happy because he told me once it's a one-man march, I can go ahead doing it. I was so excited, but I forgot to ask him his name. So I called him to ensure that I'm doing the right thing. When I called again, a lady named, I could tell you her name. She told me her name. I asked her who she was. The officer told me that to have a one-man match, I need to make an application. So I don't know, and I want to match. So please tell me, find out for me if I can do a one-man match without making an application.
I'll do that for you, and I'll let you know tomorrow, okay? But it's a peaceful protest. I don't know if you need permission for that. Do you? I don't know. This one from Short Shirt, I will come back and tell you what's going down at the Royal Bank. Stick around. trying to get to my source there to speak about the issue of the Royal Bank, but just take note. Effective today,
this government must fall.
to service your accounts, it will cost you $25. Hello, talk to me here. Yes? Hello? Nobody there.
Unprecedented corruption rampant throughout the island, and victimization to those who express dissatisfaction with the way this government's squandering this country's revenue, accepting no accountability for the underhand things they just do, ostracizing those who say they are no good, and rewarding their friends some with knighthood.
Let's come back to the telephones. It appears that some people are already very upset about what is going on at the Royal Bank as it relates to servicing your account. $25 every month. Yes, I repeat, every month. Keeping to keep your accounts alive there. Hello, talk to me.
Good afternoon to you and the listeners.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, people can just withdraw their money from the bank. You know, it's not the only bank that have. That is on that part.
Mhm.
And to the children and the parents of Dominica. The children are the future. The very same parents are being sent home. The children are being molested. They are degraded. They are criticized. They are not given any rights. See how they drag them. They do not even talk about the sexual abuse. Parents and youth, open out all your eyes, open out all your ears, and listen and learn what is going on in the country. The very same parents who laughing, hooray, 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 and leba today, when fly will be shitting them tomorrow, their children will not be in a position for them to put food or to put pampers on them. So if they don't want to make a positive and a constructive decision today, that will be our downfall tomorrow, and we have no one to blame but ourselves. Dominicans, open all your eyes and see what is going on in our country. It's not about party, it's our country, it's our people, it's our children, it's our today, our tomorrow, and our forever, based on what we do. Be careful and be alert in what you all do. Have a blessed afternoon to everybody.
Thank you very much. It's 1:52 in the afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon, Matt. How you doing?
How you doing, my brother?
Great. Matt, it was high time a self-declared man from Scotland took to the airwave. And, brother, I'm with you. Matt, there are two fundamental reasons why we are not going to vote this Labour Party in again and never. First, they are people of ill repute. Look at their backgrounds. Look at what they stand for. These are all things that will create our own detriment in this country. We cannot vote for these people. Secondly, they do not have a proven track record as accomplishing stuff. What have they done for Scotland? Almost 20 years. We are voting for, not we, I mean, the Labour Party is representing Scotland, Soufriere Gallo, Point Michel. And not one thing. They are building so many unfinished hotels all over in Vickers, Portsmouth. But even the one they call the Monica Lewinsky one, they have one calling some Winsky or whatever the case may be. They could consider building that in Scotland if they so want our vote. These people have not done a thing in our constituency whereby they could show to win our vote, to earn our vote.
But I'm hearing that Mr. Sam Raphael Hotel is launching his hotel in that constituency sometime this afternoon with a special ceremony.
Matt, Mr. Sam Raphael is a private entity. He's a private citizen. He's an entrepreneur. I'm referring that the government create the incentive. Look at Scott. Scott has been languishing for the longest while, you know. Nothing out there for the fishermen, nothing out there for the farmers, nothing out there to create any jobs. And when I say jobs, I'm not referring to the never-ending poverty system, you know, the NEP.
Never-ending poverty, that's what it stands. We have to stamp all of this nonsense off. We're going to clean house. We're going to put Higgs in there to start the process going. Good afternoon, man.
Good afternoon to you. 1:56 is the afternoon time. We are closely coming to the end of this afternoon's Talk on the Block. Hello.
Matt.
Yes, how you doing?
Not bad at all. Matt, I never saw Dominica too much power said, gossipers and baron flies. I never saw Dominica come that way by that little party government, demonic madman. Dominica, open your eyes, wake up, shake up, and stand up and get rid of that evil government. Thank you.
Somebody says, Matt, good afternoon. I listened to the tape on Venezuela, and my God, Dominica is next in line. You have the government govern the country. There's a pattern on how I see Dominica is being run. Hello, talk to me.
Matt,
Yes.
the Prime Minister is supposed to have a meeting with the local hoteliers this afternoon, I think. Why now? Why hasn't he done something for the local hotels during the 16 and 20 years? And if he's so interested in the local hotels, why is he building all these great hotels? Where the people going to come from? Thank you.
Thank you too. Hello.
Matt,
Yes.
boy, Venezuela under pressure now.
Yeah, serious pressure.
And then tell them, don't tackle you because you're not in that. I have possibly, I have Austin talking about that. Matt say not in that. Matt, they try to put in.
Austria like to rope me in his comments, man.
They can't put in trouble.
No, man. I staying out of that. Hello. How you doing?
Matt, I'm fine. Matt, the Jungle Bee Hotel going to Soufriere.
Mon Akoma.
Monakuma is not an initiative of this government. It is because of the disaster for Erica. So that shouldn't be accredited to any work or any achievement of this government. Have a good day, Matt.
Have a good day too. Hello, talk to me.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mac.
I'm hearing they're having a special ceremony at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Hello.
Yes, idea.
Mm-hmm.
Mac, the Prime Minister is our leader that prevent him because he said today the bridge will be functioning to open that new bridge, $18 million. But I hope Dominica can sing for themselves because Dominica, it seems to me they're waiting just like Titanic when the captain, the mid-column, the captain, he said, Captain will not make it. He said, let's see rip. But he had no choice. When he see come to the end, he see all of them going to perish. Nearer my God to thee. Mr. Mac, have a wonderful afternoon.
Nearer my God to thee. 1:59. Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you, my brother.
How you doing?
I call Mr. Linton asking them to make their position clear. They have stated their position. The brother is not going anywhere. He's honorable, and I'm going to stand behind him. I'm not going to throw him under the bus. I know Mr. Linton understands clearly. He's asking for anything else. That is a little unfair. The pattern the person talk about having to do with the way Dominica is being governed, and it contrasted with Venezuela. You hear the report, Matt? The way things were being dished out to supporters and all the same level of madness. That's what he have learned, and he has implemented it in Dominica. And you could see the country is really on its way to its own demise and the demise of a people, Matt. So it is very sad, Matt, to see the people who Matt, it's like you stand up there, you're very strong, and seeing somebody beating your son or your daughter or your mother or father. So these are the people in Dominica who clearly understand the issue, but because they're given license to sell passports, they're given duties and incentives and all of that, they're allowing the country to go to the dogs. But I am telling them.
You know what I noticed too? If they can't get to you, they'll try to get to a member of your family. I mean, come on, this is just wrong. You know?
They're attacking you right now about your son. And
Yes, I'm spreading some bad rumors there, you know?
Well, my brother, just be careful. I've warned you through the years. I know these guys will stop at nothing, Matt. And I have said that you and I and others will not be able to articulate as clearly and as skillfully as time will. And time have articulated our predicament in which we are in right now. And it's only a stubborn people that can allow themselves to be dragged into that kind of mess, Matt. And Dominicans need to wise up. My brother, blessings, and take care of yourself, bro.
Thank you very much, my blessings. Blessings to you, as they say all the time.